Welcome back to the MMA Split Picks show for our last card in the UFC of the year, headlined by two middleweights. Sean Strickland taking on Jared Cannonier on a card that is about as stacked as an end-of-year card can be. I would even argue as stacked, maybe not in terms of name value, but in terms of, hey, that guy. There's a lot of hey that guys on this card, and I'm looking forward to it. Many fights as well. I think, how many fights have we got? I think it is 6, 12...
Got to be close to 15.
13. 14 fights to finish the year out. 14 fights. 2 more than we just had on UFC 282, which we've just discussed.
Touch woods. The MMA gods are vengeful. Don't bait them.
I'm hoping that they've been appeased after the co-main event and main event of UFC 282, which we have discussed, and you can see on our weekly podcast episode on the MMA Split channel. Check that video out.
Go watch it, but also don't be naive. MMA gods are thirsty.
This is true, but we are not going to focus on that because we spent the weekly podcast doing that. Watch the podcast on the channel. Leave a like on this video. Comment as well. Feel free to leave your own picks and predictions for the last card of the year. And subscribe if you are not already subscribed. With that out of the way, stat card, kicking off with our main event. Cannonier versus Sean Strickland. Both guys coming off losses one to the former champion, one to the current champion. Although the losses were very different in nature. Where are you feeling on this one, Josh, straight off the bat?
We say different in nature, but then it's also like Cannonier got injured. So I think Cannonier, as old as he is, as long as in tooth as he might be, is still a very dangerous guy. When he gets an opportunity to read you and land that counter shot, he is very, very powerful. Obviously, he has wins at heavyweight, light heavyweight, and middleweight. The guy's a powerful guy. Strickland tends to kind of come forward aggressively and belligerently. You got to figure Cannonier is going to get the opportunity to land that counter shot across 5 rounds.
This is kind of my feeling.
It feels foolish to think anything else would happen.
So,
in fact, I feel like if we're going to be worth our weight as pundits here, it's like, how early do we think it's going to happen, or why do we think it's going to happen?
Don't say that.
No, I think that's the level we need to be at here, because it's almost a foregone. Mugs. Yeah, but it's a foregone conclusion. Cannonier is going to knock out Strickland, right?
Well, you've just cursed this now.
I cursed it. I didn't be like, oh, we've got 14 fights. It's 2 more than last week. You know the MMA guys don't like that talk.
Okay, that's true, and I'll take that back, and I apologise. Still,
I curse now.
I'm picking Cannonier over Strickland.
And even though I cursed it.
Even though you cursed it. My reasons? Well, I like Sean Strickland, but for me, at the end of the day, Cannonier has knocked people out in 2 weight classes above Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland made welterweight. There is no situation on planet Earth where Jared's making welterweight. And Sean does not wrestle. And I just feel to freeze Cannonier, to get him to be as,
he'll defensively wrestle, and he'll wrestle when he scrambles. But yeah, he won't. Yeah, he won't even go for like even kind of trip takedowns or anything. Like he can grapple, but he will not look to initiate any kind of like grappling sequence. No. He doesn't tend to do anything more with the clinch than look to kind of land knees and elbows.
And he's not a high level enough striker. There's not enough feints. There's not enough different looks. There's not enough problems being thrown at Cannonier vis-a-vis what Adesanya did to him to keep that power away. And I just feel like the only thing I would say, obviously the Pereira fight's very fresh in my mind. And Sean Strickland was poor in that fight. Up until then, his general striking defense has been extremely high. Now, it's not from doing anything overly exciting. It's usually just been pulled back and then 1-2s.
It's also a lot of just stifling guys as well.
Yeah.
So rather than eating shots, just when they're stepping in, you're just like
Grounding.
landing fast, and even better than that, before they have the opportunity to step in, you just continue to land before they're even thinking about throwing. So it's always just kind of in that busy kind of straight shot style, just that 1-2, 1-1-2, just rinse and repeat, keep stepping forward, keep pressuring, keep bothering them, getting to a point where they're just a little too tired, a little too uncomfortable. You can try and find that finishing sequence, or you can just dominate rounds to the point that the fight's easily yours. It did not benefit him against Pereira. You should never be walking into a hook that textbook that clean at this level. I said that at the time. Cannonier is not going to land like that. It's going to take a little longer, but Cannonier is going to come straight down the pipe. And as soon as he's just a little, just bouncing off one heel onto the other, just taking that 1 to the 2, Cannonier is just going to find his chin. He's just going to end his night. I think Cannonier will be patient enough. It will come in the 3rd or 4th round.
I think Cannonier will be losing the fight until he wins it.
Yeah.
The
There's a given, but it won't be by a lot.
He's not the right guy to just stand in front of and give too many looks, particularly if your striking is quite simple and structured in nature. I do think 5 rounds might be in Strickland. I think it will be in Strickland's benefit, though, because if Cannonier is worried about his gas tank, if he fights and doesn't be as aggressive as I think he needs to be and doesn't seize the moments, I can see this fight just kind of spiraling away from him.
Well, do you think Strickland can finish Cannonier?
No.
Okay, then do you believe that Cannonier thinks that Strickland can finish Cannonier?
I think he'll be wary of it. And whether or not he thinks about it before...
I think he's going to sit back for 5 rounds and look for that almost perfect shot, knowing that his power's going to give him a lot of leeway. The margin of error is going to be quite large on that power shot. He only really needs half a chance. I think he sits back. He might not get it in the 1st or the 2nd. I think by the 3rd he's going to have got enough of a read on Strickland's movement to find it. And if not by then surely the 4th. But Strickland's not going to finish him. And there's no way Cannonier goes 5 rounds without, just finding that one shot.
I think his reach is going to be difficult as well. He's not very tall, Cannonier, but he's got ridiculously long arms for his height. That can be difficult to adjust to. I'm going Cannonier, but I'm not as cavalier about it as you can. I think Sean Strickland can win this fight. I think he'll look at fights that he's had in his career, I think particularly Uriah Hall, and he'll think, if I can just get this guy freezing and just keep the pressure on and smother him and get him past those first 2 rounds, I can snowball him and I can just win this fight the same way I beat Uriah Hall. It's a tough ask. I'm going to go with Cannonier. And also I'm going to go with Cannonier because he didn't get knocked the fuck out in his last fight less than 4 months ago. And
yeah.
And Sean Strickland, man, I don't know if you're on his Instagram, but he was back in heavy sparring 2 weeks later. The guy does not give his brain a chance to heal. So, based on that, I'm going to stick with Cannonier. Looking forward to it, though. I think it's a good fight to end the year on. We meant to get it 2 months ago, and they pushed it back.
Yeah, it did, yeah. I was trying to check it while you were talking. I was looking first. I reckon you'll probably know.
I was so confused at what you were looking at, man.
Oh,
you were looking at Cavaliers versus Roundheads.
Yeah, so it was Cavaliers and Roundheads, right?
Why are you looking?
So I don't know if Cavaliers had square heads or whatever, but I'm thinking I like the whole being confident on it, being the Cavalier. So I'm thinking when you're the more well, actually we both do, when you're kind of riding the fence a little bit, being a little bit more withdrawn with our opinions, then that could be the Roundheads, right?
Just because they lost, it doesn't mean that they...
It doesn't matter who won or lost. It's because it was Cavaliers versus Roundheads. It's taking the polemic
I'm
examples,
trying to
right?
follow your logic that you've went where you were like, I'm going to research very quickly on.
No, because I couldn't remember like if because in my head I was like, well, I think the Cavaliers were the Roundheads. So who the Roundheads fight? Was it the Squareheads? Like what? That is that a thing? Triangle heads? I don't know. It was the Cavaliers versus the Roundheads, but I don't know what the Cavalier head armor style was that was so different from fucking Round.
It wasn't even anything to do with the armor or anything like that. I think the Roundheads were called the Roundheads because, you know what, I studied this when I was at school, and school's a long fucking time.
Was that Cromwell as well, the Roundheads?
No, Cromwell was the Cavalier.
Cromwell was
leading.
Cavaliers.
Yeah. So it was King Charles the First, and it
So
was
what we think of as being the Cavalier as being like quite like adventurous, like a flair kind of attacking
it's
style.
represented by the guy who cancelled Christmas because he thought it was too decadent.
And banned football and tried to cancel Ireland. Fucking prick.
But when his portrait was taken, he was a very ugly man.
So
with warts on his face. And when they did his portrait, I'll just say the story. When they did his portrait, usually they would like glamorize people. They try and like remove things, and they'd ask people, "What do you want removed?" And he demanded, "No, paint me as I am, warts and all." And that's where the expression "warts and all" comes from.
I thought it was like a fucking Chaucer thing. Alright, Cromwell. So basically, when people say Cavalier, what they're talking about is like the opposite of Cavalier.
Well, they were Cavalier because they went against the established order.
Yeah,
They
but
fought
to
the
make
very king
shit
himself.
more boring and worse and more awful.
That was the end result. But I mean, the idea at the time was these kings haven't got people's best interests in mind.
I don't know what you're trying to defend Cromwell right now.
I'm not. I'm just saying that, like,
so weird.
listen, man, I studied this shit in history, and I was King Charles all the way. Because when you're learning history,
I'm
it's
not
all
King
fucking
Charles
kings.
either. You can be anti Cromwell, not pro King Charles.
Well, that's how I understood
You-
history, kings and queens. I didn't want that shit changed.
Why can't you just be pro Ireland? What's wrong with being pro Ireland?
You know, because Ireland beat us off, man, in a lot of times when we tried to fully invade and take over. And sometimes you...
So you cling to Cromwell.
I'm not clinging to Cromwell. Cromwell
Alright.
was awful.
All right, that's all I need to hear. That's all I need to hear.
Let's get back to
Alright.
the fights. Let's talk about our co-main event. This is... We're going to see everything that we didn't see in the Paddy the Baddy fight. You want to see two guys that should be propped up as the fucking future stars of this division. Well, Arman Sarukian, Damir Ismagulov. I will understand that Ismagulov's weird eye twitch does not make him the most marketable person. But...
Doesn't
of-
hold Ryan Hall back.
In terms of his ability, the guy is fucking ace. He can grapple. He's got jiu-jitsu. He's got a jab if the fight stays on the feet that is fucking laser pointed. Absolute laser pointed. He was not winning that fight against Guram Kutaladze. He was not winning that fucking fight until he started landing that jab. And as soon as he did, it was money. And then on the flip side, you've got Arman Sarukian, who's lost to Makhachev and Gamrot. And in both of those fights, I mean, the Gamrot one, you could say, arguably, he might have won. The Makhachev fight, he took on short notice, and for a round and a half, was hanging with him in the grappling.
And not for nothing, but I am honestly willing to say on the record, Kutaladze probably as good as Makhachev. Honestly, I believe
We're
that.
going to find out in a couple of
It was
years' time, I
Magulov.
think.
Also, right there at that fucking level, Sarukian a little below. Sarukian is very fucking good.
25.
Yep, and
25 years old, guys.
will continue to improve, I believe. But honestly, we're about to see him get ragdolled. And I just want you to know that I genuinely believe Sarukian is like a top 4 or 5 fighter. Well, actually, honestly, if you put Kutaladze in there, he's probably at like number 6. But the rankings are all fucked up. And the young blood hasn't had a good opportunity to come through. And it was ridiculous that Ismagulov fought Kutaladze when they did.
We spoke about that at the time, that was a ridiculous fight.
But it was very fun to get to see it, though. It was cool we got to see it. I'm glad we got to see it. I'm not shitting on it. I'm glad we got to see it.
And
It was ridiculous, though.
And you think that Ismagulov doesn't just beat Sarukian, you think he ragdolls him?
A little bit, yeah, because Sarukian I don't think is going to threaten him on the feet in the same way, so it's just going to be a case of Sarukian looking to be like that all-round threat, and Ismagulov just being better everywhere, and a little bit bigger, and a lot stronger, and I just think with the takedowns and the grappling, it's just going to be a lot of Sarukian surviving on the mat. I don't think they're going to be like 10-8s or anything. You know, Sarukian's going to do his thing. You know, he's not a fucking bum. He's a great fighter. He's a top 5 fighter or top 6 fighter. But Ismagulov's just going to take him down at will and kind of control him. And if he doesn't finish him, he's going to dominate him. And I think a 30-27 and not in like a, you know, Sarukian didn't deserve to be that kind of way. I just think this is a very, very winnable fight for Ismagulov. And I think Sarukian's going to be too willing to engage. If Sarukian had insane power or like a large frame or was like insanely athletic or fast or something, I'd be like, yeah, that's how he'll kind of add those wrinkles and he'll make this competitive for Ismagulov. But Ismagulov is going to be able to keep him at arm's length and jab him up. He's going to be able to just sort of take him down and change levels when he wants because he's controlling every like thing in the fight, including the tempo and the range. And I just don't see any way in this fight that Sarukian can really impact and really impose his will. And Ismagulov is so insanely strong and dominant as a fighter when you let him play to his strengths that I just don't think it's going to be a competitive fight.
Okay. My pick is Ismagulov, but I think this is way closer than you're making it sound.
It could be.
So much.
I don't think it will be.
So I don't think that Ismagulov is such a better wrestler than Sarukian
I do.
that he's going to ragdoll him. The difference between them is I think Ismagulov is more polished standing up. And I think he's more able and will have more willingness to do what he did to Guram. Just establish a good jab, have good leg kicks, stay disciplined. I think Sarukian, I completely agree with a lot of your methodology. So I think Sarukian, I don't think he's very polished on the feet. He likes mixing it into everything else, but he kind of needs the grappling for it to work. And what I think is going to happen is Sarukian is going to be the one who's looking to initiate the grappling. I think.
Yeah. Sarukian attempts more than 5 takedowns. Sarukian lands 0 takedowns.
So here's the difference.
I stand by that.
So here's the difference. Ismagulov will happily wrestle with him, and at worst, he will be equal enough to be able to stalemate him or get back to the feet. If it doesn't end up having any wrestling, Ismagulov is going to be willing to just strike with the guy. And this is the problem with Sarukian, is that even if he's marginally better at wrestling, he's not, in my opinion, going to be able to do what he needs to do to keep the fight on the ground where he can win. The fight is going to end up back on the feet. That wrestling is eventually going to be negated, and at that point, Ismagulov is going to do what he does and piece him up on the feet. That is my opinion. So I have similar logic. I just don't think it's to the extremity that you take.
Ismagulov is so much stronger than Sarukian.
Well, we're both going in the same way.
Yeah.
But it sounded like we didn't, based on the
disagreement.
Okay, next fight. Amir Albazi taking on
Alessandro Costa.
I do not know a lot about Costa, so I am picking Amir Albazi. Although, damn, this guy is coming in on a win streak.
Both guys are. So Albazi had the win against Zumagulov and Malcolm X. Oh shit, and Little Figgy. So no fucking bum at all. Previously booked against Roy Val, Raw Dog, and Alex Perez. You're going Costa, yeah? No, you're going Albazi.
I'm going Albazi.
Yeah, fuck, bro. Then I'm going to go Albazi too. Don't know anything about Costa other than he's got an outstanding record. Alberti's is better. Alberti has wins against some fucking names.
Gordon.
In fact, the only loss on those Jose Torres, who's fucking decent.
Yeah, he's a beast, man.
Yeah, okay, Alberti makes sense. That's an easy one.
Alex Caceres taking on Juicy J, Julian
Jesus.
Erosa.
This is a fun one to pick, actually.
Man, they put a lot of fun fights together. So, Caceres, he had that great 4-fight winning streak, didn't he? And kind of all came apart when he fought... Who did he fight? Fought somebody really
It wasn't the first person to note. He did actually put some names on that record.
Sadiq Youssef.
Yeah, but before that, Song Woo Choi, Kevin Kroom, Austin Springer, Chase Hooper at the time.
That was a good win.
It was an okay win at the time. That's going to age well. I think Chase Hooper's going to be a fucking beast. He's showing me some things now. But that Steven Peterson win as well. In fact, Kron Gracie's a fucking monster. Yeah, he's been doing very, very, very well recently. I only say recently. I mean, maybe let's go over the last 4 or 5 years. Caceres has been putting together a very nice body of work within the UFC. Always impressive.
Grappling, showing some work on the ground, mixing things up. He's had a couple of fights where he's been in adversity and then he's pulled himself out of it. He's fighting Juicy J. Julian Erosa, man, he's going to test what you've got. I think he's more dangerous on the feet in terms of knockout power. Juicy J.
Well, Caceres has better kicks. I think Caceres can put you to sleep with a kick a lot more effectively than Juicy J. That being said, even though Caceres technically might be the better, more polished, like kind of kicking aficionado, I think that when you actually look at like Went For and Got and how effective their kicking game is, I imagine Juicy J actually gets the better head kick attempt to head kick knockout ratio, because that guy just gets funky angles and that guy's just staying busy and going for it all the time. Whereas Caceres will spam a lot of ridiculous shit that just doesn't land.
Yeah. And we just point this out, we're obviously talking about Caceres having a great record coming in. It's a 3-fight winning streak coming in for Juicy J, who is 6-1 in his last 7 fights, man. 6-1. 5-1 in his latest UFC run.
Yeah, and big fucking names, bro. Like fucking Charles Jourdain,
Dawoodu,
Sean Woodson, Nate Landwehr, Steven Peterson again.
Obviously, so the only thing is, I think he's got...
Well, the only thing is that you're fucking picking first, because I'm not having the same shit that happened last week happen. I know my picks, and I know that I'm behind. You have to pick first.
Well, you don't know your picks, because the first thing you said to me when I came in to do this was, I haven't done my picks.
That was, sir, at least 3 hours ago.
I've been next to you the whole time. You've had no opportunity to. And
I have even written down a couple.
A couple. Funny. I bet. And is this one of the ones you've...
I have not written this one down. I know this one.
Well,
you will pick first.
I'm picking Juicy J Erosa.
You motherfucking piece of shit.
His last 3-fight win streak, the names are more impressive than the wins that Alex Caceres has got.
You're
Obviously,
picking first the whole way through.
Caceres beat Sting Choi,
the whole way through.
Juicy J's a fighter, man. He's got that dog in him. He's got that willingness to trade. Alex Caceres is more of a technician, but I don't think he's going to have enough pop in his power and his punches to keep Juicy J off him. He's going to be pressuring, he's going to be in his face, he's going to be throwing kicks as well, and can handle him on the ground. Juicy J all day.
You're a real fucking piece of shit.
Which means that you also are going Juicy J.
Yeah.
Bobby Green taking on Drew Dober. This is I can't believe they didn't put this on the pay-per-view, man. Last week. This is a fight. Two guys that do not have dull performances. Do not have dull fights. Two guys that, to be fair, are pretty fucking hard to knock out as well. And Drew Dober has literally been knocked down once in his entire career. Bobby Green has got such slick boxing. He's an expert at slipping everything, not taking punches clean, rolling, trash talking as he's doing it. Obviously, he's not beating the elite of the division, as we've already seen. But I will back Bobby Green all day long, even though I love Drew Dober. The only thing that worries me with this one is Bobby Green's had some weight cut issues. He's had a couple of fights in the last year or so where it's all fallen apart. Like, he's made weight, but then something's happened, or he's had a last-minute injury. So I'm picking Bobby Green.
Yeah.
But I'm also just a bit nervous that this might be one of those MMA gods fight sacrifices.
Where's Tuesday? So, like, assuming that it doesn't fall apart, yeah, you got to pick Bobby Green.
I really like Drew Dober, but Bobby Green's got the reach, he's got the style, and if he's not having to deal with any grappling, he can just start setting his traps, doing his thing. Drew Dober hits hard, but even if he catches Bobby Green a couple of times, I think Bobby's got the chin to take it.
Yeah.
It's going to be a great fucking fight.
And I go rest, man. I'm looking down the card and I'm trying to work out where it's going to benefit me making you pick first.
I will happily pick first every single fight. I do not.
It's not gonna make a fucking difference until maybe the penultimate pick. But
Well,
fuck it.
Let's talk about the main card opener. Cody Brundage taking on Michelle. You say his last name better.
Alexejczyk?
Very nice.
No. I fucked that up pretty good. For sure. Sure.
I don't know what it's meant to sound
But
like.
I'm doing my hardest, man. Alexejczyk, I believe.
Michelle versus Cody. I'm picking Michelle.
Yeah, I mean, dude, even at like fucking light heavyweight, this guy was a fucking beast. And like Brundage, yeah, sure, on paper he's probably a bigger middleweight. Doesn't matter. That power, he didn't go anywhere. If anything, this guy's more powerful at middleweight because he's not fighting the bigger guys anymore. He's just fucking starching people. I know he changed his nickname from the Gentleman to something else, but he will always be the Gentleman or Lord. It was Lord, right?
Yeah.
Whatever, like the Polish for Lord was, like, this guy's the fucking Don. I love him.
Cody Brundage will not be chanting, so you're a wrestler now after the end of this one.
I don't think so. I like Cody Brundage a lot, and he's been surprising people, and I wouldn't suck if he surprised me right now, you know. But
that's one of the ones I'm less sure on. But
yeah,
I'm less sure on a lot of these. You seem dramatically confident on some of your picks.
Oh yeah, for me this one's like this is a no-brainer. This one picks itself.
Yeah.
Like
Okay, we're talking about no-brainers. We've got Wales' own Corey McKenna. Poppins, formerly the Hobbit, and I think she realised that it was probably good to change that. Change to walkout song as well. She doesn't walk out to the Fratellis anymore. She walks out to We Are Young by Supergrass. Equally a good choice and impressive because I believe at one point she was the youngest fighter in the UFC. Though thanks Raul Rosas Jr. took that away from a girl. But again, you will not forever be the youngest.
Hey, they can always do what we can do just for less pay.
True. Taking on Cheyenne Vlismas, formerly Cheyenne Bay. She didn't change her ring name, she just changed her last name because she got divorced. Apparently was shagging some other dude before the divorce happened. She's got kicks, man. She's got nasty kicks, but she also can't really deal with the ground very well. So I'm picking Corey McKenna, as long as she doesn't do an Elise Reed and just be like, nah, I've got this in the stand-up.
Yeah, no.
She's too small to strike with people.
She
can't reach them.
I'm going with Poppins. I think Poppins is just going to take her down, hold her down for 3 rounds and stay busy enough to keep it like that, you know. Nice stand-ups.
This is going to sound really stupid and it needs context, but Josh has just brought up the record for the next fight that we're about to talk about.
Well, yeah, this is the one thing I was kind of... I hadn't really decided on this next one too much, but I was pretty sure which way I was going.
Well,
you're picking first, though.
For a split second, because we were still talking about the Corey McKenna-Vlismas fight, I was looking at the record thinking it applied to one of the two, and my initial thought before I made the realization to move on to the next fight is just like, hang on a second.
Corey McKenna beat Andre
Fialho. Has beat some good people, man.
She's got more power than you realise. No, yeah, she's still just a fucking strawweight, but
We've moved on. We've moved on to the welterweights, and it's Jake Matthews taking on Matthew Semmelsberger. Semi the Jedi.
yeah.
I fucking love that nickname. I love Semmelsberger. He's not winning this fight, though, because Jake Matthews against Fiallo looked like the technical axe murderer that he always could have been. And Fiallo's a damn good fighter, man. Like, he's lost a couple now, but the guy is super, super dangerous and clearly has got boxing skills. And I thought was going to beat Jake Matthews, and he really surprised me. I think he's too good for Semmelsberger.
I don't think I'm going to get a lot of separation from you this week. I think this fight's closer than people have it. I'm going to go semi.
You just want to be different.
I have to be different to try and make up some ground here. And I got to believe we're going the same way over the next 4, maybe 6 fights. So...
Well, bear in mind, we're not 100% sure what my lead is at the moment. Cause
We're not, but I know you have a lead.
We know it's between 5 to 7 points.
Yeah. 4 to 6.
5 to 7.
I don't know what your lead is, so whatever it is
So
whatever it is.
You're picking semi.
I'm gonna go semi. I think I'm gonna. I don't feel bad about going for semi.
May the force.
I was
not
kind
be
of on the
with you.
fence there. I was gonna go Matthews. You went Matthews, and I think
Well, there's technically a
it.
Matt
I'm gonna-
in both names. I'm just picking the last name over the first name to associate
Yeah.
myself with.
I'm gonna go semi with Jedi.
That's very good news for me because I think Jake Matthews wins that fight. On to middleweights. Julian Marquez, the Cuban Missile Crisis. He's back. He's taken on Deron Wynn. That last name is going to have a real horrific irony to it by the end of his career, unfortunately. And
No, if it was Deron appropriately sized, his name would take on a horrific irony by the end of his career. Luckily, his name is Win,
Do you know
so
the
it's
crazy
only
thing is?
half true.
I could see a world where Deron Wynn just keeps ducking under massive hooks from a very tall 6'3" man, getting on his leg.
No. I see a world where Deron Win understands what it is to make 155 and potentially challenges for a world title in a organisation. But at 185, it looks some like online player v player bullshit with like mismatched weight classes.
Yeah.
It's
Like
just
when people make Demetrius Johnson fight Francis Ngannou.
Yeah.
UFC4.
watching Deron Win fight is weird.
Well,
I'm like, when one of the rest of the Oompa Loompas gonna come in?
that's a little harsh.
Yeah,
But I'm picking Marquez.
why are they letting their boy get done like that solo? That's some bullshit.
Yeah, I'm guessing you're picking Marquez.
Obviously, I'm picking Marcus.
Yeah, we're not getting a lot of separation.
Yes, like, all right, you're picking first, but let me just tell everyone else what you're picking. Nurmagomedov, Garcia, Battle, probably Cup, and I don't know actually on the first one, maybe Morozov.
Damn, you were really close, and you got almost all of them right.
You
but
got
I'm going
Newsom.
Mahasheti instead of Rafa Garcia.
Oh, Butte. All right. I'm gonna.
So we sped that up. So
okay.
very quickly, Saeed Nurmagomedov taking on.
Kahramanov.
I'm picking Saeed.
I am also picking Saeed.
Mahasheti versus Rafa Garcia. I'm picking Mahasheti.
I'm picking Rafa Garcia.
Brian Battle taking on.
Fakhretdinov. I think
That was so bad.
Fakhretdinov.
That wasn't much better. You were nailing it earlier. You had like 2 good ones in a row.
Fakhretdinov.
Close enough. I'm picking Battle.
Same.
Uh,
Not because it's easy to say. It's just I think at welterweight, this guy's a real fucking problem.
Agreed. David
Dvorak.
taking on Manel Karp. I'm on the Karp train now. I'm fishing for some carp.
Yeah, I wish he won. Yeah, I'm also going Carp.
And Sergey Morozov versus Journey Newson. Yeah, I'm going Sergey Morozov. Fuck, now even I can't talk.
Yeah. Fuck. Like, I haven't got Newsom wrong. Yeah, I've got Newsom right. I don't want to. I want to try and get some back here. Yeah, everyone. Yeah. Yeah, I'm going Morozov. It's just I've got no reason to fucking throw that one away. All right.
That's it. That's our picks for the last card of the year. Obviously,
Almost identical picks. Again.
Apart from 2 fights. But those 2 fights will make a difference.
I know I'm getting one of those back. I better get 2 of them back.
We will be back next week for a podcast, weekly podcast. We'll talk about everything that happens in this fight night. Results, where the table is. We'll try and figure out what the exact scorecards are. It all got a little bit confused when I was in Thailand and we weren't documenting things as well as we should have done. And there's a card that we missed, so a little bit of admin on our side to figure that out. And then next week as well, we might do end of year review, something like that.
Let's figure out. Let's get some guests on and do like a big end of year like we did last year.
That would be cool.
And this time we'll get all the categories like logged in and add to everyone ahead of time, and we'll do like a good end of year. Because we did a good end of year last year. But let's do another good end of year
and make it better.
Yeah, well, we can definitely make it more organised because, every time we do anything, we can always make it more organised. That's the way we work.
Nice. Well, guys, thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe to the video, and we'll catch you next week. Enjoy the fights, and bye Dave, bye Laurie, bye Trifa.
Bye Laurie, bye Dave.